of your attention, your document, your discernment, and your solidarity. Thank you. Who is Mr. Charles Kwajofosu? All right. Who is Mr. Charles Kwajofosu, Daddy Lumba? To understand the kind of injustice at hand, one must first understand the man at the center of it and the woman who stood beside him, building the very legacy now in dispute. Mr. Charles Kwajofosu, the musical titan known to the world as Daddy Lumba, was not a self-made island. His ascent from a talented young man in Insuta, Ashanti region, to the Ghanaian German high life legend was inextricably linked to the partnership, sacrifice, and foundational support of his wife, his legal wife, Mrs. Akosua Serwaa. The couple first married customary in Ghana in 1991 Kumasi Bombshell. Later on, December 23, 2004, they solemnized their union under German law at a civil marriage registry in Bochum, Germany. This civil marriage created a monogamous, legally binding covenant recognized internationally. For over 2 decades following their customary marriage, Akosua Serwaa was the publicly acknowledged wife managing the home and family as Charles' career soared. Born on September 29, 1964, Mr. Charles Kwajofosu, musical
Happy Sunshine Education Project. Let's build it one meal at a time. With your
would define a Burger life era occurred when he moved to Germany in the 1980s. This relocation was a foundational moment, and it was facilitated by personal connections. Indeed, it was upon meeting and uniting with Akosua Serwaa that Daddy Lumba's professional path was solidified and his most enduring legacy was forged. The documented professional partnership between Charles and Akosua began at the very dawn of his saddle. After forming the famous duo, the Lumba Brothers in 1988, with Nane Champon in Germany, with their crucial debut studio album being Yeye Aka Kwentu, which was produced by Daddy Lumba's wife, Akosua Serwaa, in their studio house. The duo became a major success and helped popularize the burger high life genre. It is not a minor footnote, it is a critical fact. Their marriage was so fruitful that they decided to dedicate 6 months to producing the music in Germany, followed by another 6 months in Ghana to promote it. This was a frequent occurrence with mutual understanding. In 1993, whilst promoting the album Eyesikasem, Daddy Lumba continued his betrayal of multiple affairs while staying in Achimota. Daddy Lumba ended up impregnating the daughter of the man who hosted them, Mr. Ahime. It is truly heartbreaking and interesting to note Mrs. Akosua Serwaa-Fosu's first son, Kevin, is only 3 months older than the other sibling, Denise. Lumba, unfaithful habits, continuing with another affairs in Germany with another lady, Georgina, having a son, Derek, for him. This was a blow to Mrs. Akosua Serwaa, as as this happened to be her friend and child mother of their children. In the face of betrayal, she diligently loved her husband, covering his multiple sins. Covering his multiple sins. He managed all the bills for her family as Daddy Lumba continued with his music career. She she had she had to work 8 hours to defray a mortgage on their home, while simultaneously nursing their last child and taking care of two older children single-handedly. This was not the life of someone alienated or absent as being told in the media. This was the life of a spouse holding the fort, ensuring stability and protecting the family's assets, their home through her own labor. The assets themselves tell a story of joint enterprise. The narrative and court documents reference properties that are central to this case. The house at Tantra Hills, Dome, East Legon, with others including businesses. It is stated that these were built by Mrs. Akosua Serwaa and her husband. She was not a beneficiary of wealth created apart from her. She was a co-coordinator of their wealth, of that wealth. Their matrimonial home was a joint project. Sadly, in 2012, Mrs. Akosua Serwaa experienced the loss of her sister, prompting her return to Ghana for the funeral, which she attended alongside Daddy Lumba. During the time of his wife was aware of his frequent complaints of back pains. After returning to Germany later that year, they began necessary arrangements for his health and later surgery. Prior to procedure, he mentioned to his wife the urgent need to return to Ghana quickly and back in time for the scheduled surgery in Germany for their matrimonial abode. However, when he landed in Ghana, to her shock, he informed her of the real reason why he left to Ghana, which was that he failed to undergo the surgery in Germany as he didn't trust the healthcare providers. She questioned and was upset his decision as that was not planned nor discussion. However, he had made his ultimate choice as an adult. After the shock of his unplanned decision to remain in Ghana, Mrs. Akosua Serwaa had no choice than to remain in Germany with her minor children and fend for them. As a mother of three, she had no option but to stand strong and face her new challenge of being the sole breadwinner of her home. Rather with the burden of responsibilities, the mortgage and many financial commitments. Clearly, she was, into brackets, abundant in block letters. Even during this abandonment, she still kept in constant communication and help towards her husband. Testimonies of the court documents reveals that it was the plaintiff, Akosua, who bought medication for her deceased husband. This case was so significant that The deceased himself confirmed in a video widely the video circulated on all social media platforms during his 60th birthday celebration. He also clarified false narrative which was in circulation that she had poisoned her husband, hence his hard labor. He has hard health. How could she have poisoned when she lived miles away abroad? Her support was financial, medical, and safe as always. Charles Kwajofosu, aka Daddy Lumba, was a brilliant artist, no doubt, a musical legend, but his personal and marital woes living silently in the shadow of his outward success. Fundamentally, it is right to say Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba was the very beacon of his success. Like the saying goes, behind every successful woman, there is a woman. Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba was simply that. She was his producer, financier, stabilizer, nurse, protector of his brand, and to investor and co-investor. To sever her from his legacy is not only a personal wrong, but a factual ensure of the very foundation upon which the legend of Daddy Lumba was built. He acknowledged her very raw and incomparable presence in her life by praising her effect towards her effort towards him in many of his songs, one being Nti Se Ade Anchimi A. Her documented in her official biography, in the financial realities she managed, and in the numerous properties they built together, which has all now become a bone of contention. Any honest account of who is Daddy Lumba? Who is Daddy Lumba? Must unequivocally answer, he was a man whose genius was unable and sustainable by his wife, Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba, forever 30 years. Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba is now a venture where many of Priscilla's family members are currently working. This represents a wholesale diversion of legacy and income streams for the legitimate family of Priscilla Ofori. Second, the manipulation of funeral rites and finances.
Ten years ago, it all began with one trade. Discipline became my edge. And today, I trade with confidence and consistency. 10 years of helping traders grow. FTMO.
Third, Kofi Usu allegedly orchestrated funeral preparation that excluded the rightful widow and children. The This necessitated a court injunction. The court's ruling of December 12, 2015 revealed the seven facts. It found it necessary to order that the first respondents separate funds raised for funerals from the account of Daddy Lumba's Memorial Foundation, LBG. This implies a commingling of charitable memorial fund with funeral finances, a serious lack of transparency. The entire funeral was being orchestrated to present Priscilla as the sole widow, a public erasure of Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba, until the court forcibly intervened to mandate a planning meeting that included the actual widow and children. Third, the obstruction of justice and mourning. The circumstances surrounding Daddy Lumba's death are surrounded in action that prevented accountability and closure of this legal family. The body was allegedly moved from the home without police notification. The family was denied access to the body, and their request for an autopsy was blocked for nearly 8 months. While these actions may involve other actors, they created an environment where Priscilla Ofori was positioned as the sole gatekeeper of the deceased, intensifying the grief and powerlessness of his lawful wife and children. Fourth, the perpetuation of a false narrative. Beyond the legal and marital harm, Priscilla Ofori and her associates have been instrumental in perpetuating a false public narrative. This includes the propagation of the claim that Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba abandoned her husband 17 years ago, a claim definitely disproven by evidence of visits mentioned earlier and ongoing support, including the purchase of the medication. By positioning herself as a sole caring companion during his illness, she has clinically manipulated public sympathy to legitimize her claims and validate those of the true wife. For clarity of doubt, in 2011, Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba's children came to Ghana for summer holiday. We asked where was Priscilla. Subsequently, she was also in Ghana 2012. Where was Priscilla again? You see, whilst creating lies, the trial of proof is evident and was have these proofs, such as a visa stamped to Ghana and with Priscilla, because her first child with him was born in December 2011. During this so-called prolonged period of immobility, she bore 6 kids with the man.
Thank you very much. Abusiafo, say biana yedrum. Edru bia me na metwa so. Ti change of setting. Senior. Di kan kan. Ana ye maame nso ensem kan ya okan no o ma ye introduction ana okan ye nua be ma okay me pacho matemasi na ye me pese ye kan no brofo ni wi a na ye dia batwi ni a summarize ye wo nananom nso dia ye pese ye bo ne tofa edema enti me pese good Matia enti abusiafo we are here to go why okay. I think I'll go by the history of court cases, accusations, injunction, and the anatomy of injustice. The legal battle to affirm the marital right of Mrs. Akosua Serwaa is a chronicle of how procedural hurdles, evidential double standards, and a final ruling that defies logic have been used to sanction a grave injustice. Every step, from filing to judgment, reveals a system failing to protect a lawful wife. The initial action, a plea for recognition, the legal journey began on October 1st, 2025. When lawyers for Mrs. Akosua Serwaa filed a writ of summons and statement of claim at the High Court in Kumasi, suit number JJ 12/20/2026, her legal team, led by lawyer William Kwesi Esquire of Dominion Chambers, with Evans Opon Adoma Esquire and Henry Benjamin Atabedu Esquire, sought clear declaratory relief against three defendants. One, Abusuapanyini Kofi Owusu Abuakwa family head, Priscilla Ofori, aka Odobroni, Transition Funeral Home, aka Enterprise Funeral Service. The claims were straightforward, grounded in her 1991 customary and 2004 German civil marriage. A declaration that she was the only surviving spouse. B, a declaration that only she had the right to perform widowhood right. C, an order restraining the family head from dealing with Priscilla Ofori as a spouse. D, an order restraining Priscilla Ofori from parading as the surviving spouse. The defendants, through their lawyers, opposed entirely. Priscilla Ofori, through her lawyer A.K. Osei Owusu Esquire, with Kwesi Mensah Nyakon Esquire, even filed a counterclaim asserting she was the validly customarily married wife since 2010. The family head, Kofi Owusu, represented by Fati Ali Alasa Hudi Esquire, supported to narrate, alleging Mrs. Fosu had abandoned her husband and presented dissolution drinks years prior. The injunction A, temporarily beacon of due process, as the defendants rushed to bury Daddy Lumba on December 13, 2025, without involving Mrs. Akosua Serwaa Fosu. and her children. An urgent family, including the deceased sister Ernestina Fosu, filed for an interlocutory injunction. This was heard on December 12, 2025, before His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Kofi Diaba in the Accra High Court. Suit number GJ 0205/2026. The plaintiff's lawyer, Thomas Tinkran Ishon Esquire, with George Agbeko Esquire and Elizabeth Lamte Esquire, successfully argued for a halt to the exclusionary.
It's me, Azar.
Hey, you don't look fresh. Oh.
Wait till you see what's inside me.
Azar, for greater coverage and colors that last longer. Azar, #1 from Azar Group.
He restrained Mr. Kofi Owusu from organizing the barrier. 2. He restrained Transition Funeral Home from releasing the body. 3. He ordered Kofi Owusu to convene a meeting within 3 weeks that must include the applicant's spouses and children of the deceased to plan a proper funeral. Critically, he ordered the separation of funeral funds from the Daddy Lumba Memorial Foundation LBG account, highlighting grave concerns over financial coming. This injunction, issued by Registrar Doris Danswa, was a clear judicial recognition that due process and the rights of the immediate family were being trampled. It was a fleeting victory for transparency. The Justice Dorinda judgment, a masterclass in evidential asymmetry. A few weeks prior, the substantive case was heard before Her Ladyship Justice Dorinda Smith-Atta at the Kumasi High Court. The judge delivered on November 28, 2025, and bearing the case tag TLP/HC/2025/04, became the instrument of injustice. The core of the injustice lies in the judge's radically different treatment of evidence from the two sides. 1. The dismissal of the German marriage, which is the one that the plaintiff showed up. Justice Atta rejected the German marriage certificate provided by Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba. Her reason, as detailed in the judgment, exposes a refusal to engage with the evidence properly. She stated the document needed authentication under Section 161 of the Evidence Act, requiring certification by the German authorities and then by the Ghana diplomatic mission. However, she then admitted that the plaintiff counsel argued there were practical hardships in meeting these demands on time. Instead of using the court's authority to facilitate this process, she required verification via mutual legal counsels or even accept the document conditionally pending authentication. She simply rejected them. She fixed on the absence of spousal signatures on the German certificate, using this to question its validity, while acknowledging she is not a signature expert. She failed to ascertain through proper inquiry, a basic judicial duty that German civil marriage certificates do not typically bear the spouses' signatures, and fact that she used a procedural bar to exclude the central piece of evidence, declaring Exhibit B, B1, and C as having probative value. Secondly, the acceptance of the customary marriage claim. The second defendant evidence is sharp contrast. Justice Atta accepted Priscilla Ofori's claim of a 2010 customary marriage based on evidence that would not survive the slightest scrutiny if the same standard was applied. The primary witness was James Beniako Boateng, which is the DW1, Priscilla Ofori's brother-in-law. He testified to attending a marriage ceremony at Tantra Hill in April 2010. No marriage certificate, no independent witness from the groom's family who attended this alleged ceremony. No photograph evidence. No photograph evidence of the event itself was required. The court accepted the single interested testimony of the relative. This acceptance flies in the face of Priscilla Ofori's own sworn declaration to other official bodies. Her 2025 British visa application and company registration, where she consistently declared her marital status as single. The court did not reconcile this irreconcilable contradiction. A person claiming to be a wife since 2010 does not declare herself single in 2025. The court also accepted evidence of public cohabitation and children as proof of a customary marriage, while dismissing the significance of the plaintiff's children and decades of prior marriage. The outcome and the lawyers. In this environment of asymmetric scrutiny, Justice Dorinda Smith-Atta ruled that 1. The plaintiff's German marriage could not be proven. 2. Both women were customary married to the deceased, which is the plaintiff in 1991 and the second defendant in 2010. Therefore, both were surviving spouses. The legal representatives for the third defendant, which is the funeral home, were Ebenezer Eje Bediakon Esquire with Edward Omane Esquire. The irony of the injunction lapses. Adding insult to injury, the injunction granted by Justice Diaba that very day, which had forced the inclusions of Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba, was lifted within an hour on December 12, 2025, because the applicants could not meet the exhibitants. which is the 20 billion, 20 million Ghana cedis in our old currency is 20 billion. Deposit imposed as a condition. This allowed the very funeral planning to resume, proving that justice often has a price too high for ordinary families to pay. In summary, the history of these cases reveals a devastating pattern. A lawful wife's document evidence was dismissed on hyper-technical grounds without judicial effort to verify it, while the contradictory undocumented claims of another were accepted based on the timeliness, most self-serving testimony. The lawyers for Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba performed their duty, but they argued before a court that applied two different standards of proof. The names Justice Dorinda Smith Arthur and Justice Emmanuel Kofi Diaba are now entirely linked to this case. One for upholding due process and the other for presiding over a final judgment that has become a benchmark for judicial failure and injustice. To continue with the justice denied, legality and inheritance fraud. The judgment delivered by Her Ladyship Justice Dorinda Smith Arthur in the case of Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba versus Abusuapanyin Kofi Owusu and us is not merely a legal ruling. It is a formal blueprint for injustice. It satisfies through a video of judicial procedure, a comprehensive campaign of inheritance fraud, and the denial of fundamental legal rights. Let us decide.
Good, catch something big. This big house. No, whoosh. Hey, see how she's smiling in her sleep. What's going on in her dreams? Nasco. Who be that guy? Nasco be guy. He be the AC. This place chill like fridge. True. That's the Nasco power. Buddy, we could enjoy him small. The place chill. Move. The police. We beg you. Please. We're not going to do that. Nasco fan. Yeah,
Nasco Air Conditions brings comfort to your room. Nasco ACs bring home coolness.
Fire! Every demon stealing comfort customers out!
Amen.
You need to sow a big seed, and all your customers will return.
No. Keep your money. You want a blow pack new takeaway packs. Remember, enkata yi, nanso blow pack die, 2 year pa. Egrano guma enjuntem, ubetumi microwave, ubetumi asan room, asan use video.
Sir, is that why you left me?
Ani, egrano tomphobia upgrade.
Me too. Blow pack in so ball of them. Cindy wo jasono.
Customers they run before, then she find the magic pack.
New blow pack takeaway book has saved my business. With your customers coming and see yes, the coin.
Microwave and use them again. Blow pack go make you rain.
But as a barricade against it, failure to inquire, the judge acknowledged the plaintiff's difficulty in obtaining the required diplomatic certification on time. A court dedicated to justice has tools at its disposal. It could have adjourned to allow the proper authentication, issue a request for international judicial assistance, or subpoena the German embassy in Accra for clarification on the document format. Justice Atta did none of these. She performed a passive technical rejection, misapplication of fact. The judge fixed on the absence of sponsored signatures on the document, implying forgery. However, she admitted she is not a signature expert and made no effort to ascertain the standard form of a German marriage certificate. Had she done her duty to the truth, she would have discovered that such certificates are issued by the registry official and do not typically contain the spouse's signatures. Her ruling was based on an ignorant assumption about foreign documents. Evidential burden. By dismissing the certificate on these grounds while accepting uncertified videos, photographs, and the uncontrollable oral testimony of an interested party, which is Priscilla Ufori, brother-in-law, as a sufficient proof of a customary marriage. The judge applied two brutally different standards. This is not okay. It is a bias. It is a bias as procedure. The lawful wife's document proof was subjected to an impossible standard, while the claimant's undocumented assertion was accepted on the lowest possible threshold. 2. Sanctioning document fraud and perjury. The court's ruling effectively rewards the legitimate documentable falsehood. The single versus marriage contradiction. Priscilla Ufori owns swore declaration to the British addiction to her credibility. By validating her claim, the court has endorsed a fraudulent declaration to a foreign government. The fraudulent transfer of property. Inheritance fraud occurs when assets are unlawfully diverted from their rightful heirs. The material states that properties in Tantra Hill and Dome were built by Mr. and Mrs. Fosu. Yet, it is documented that Priscilla Ufori has given away these houses to her brother and his wife and his extended family. The court declaration of her as a surviving spouse provides a fraudulent legal cover for this theft. Okay. Sorry, let's continue. It transforms criminal misappropriate into a semi-legitimate act of a widow managing marital property. This is the very essence of inheritance fraud, using a false status to justify the looting of another's legacy. The complicity role of officers of the court. The fraud extends beyond the judge's bench. The on-authority lawyer materials raised serious concerns about a lawyer acting on behalf of Daddy Lumba's estate without a verified will or power of attorney from the lawful next of kin. This lawyer allegedly allowed Priscilla family to occupy and rent the Fosu properties. A lawyer's duty is to uphold the law, not to facilitate the unilateral distribution of a diseased asset against the interest of the legitimate family. This conduct, which should be investigated by the General Legal Counsel, is a professional enabler of the fraud. The financial coming, the injunction ruling by Justice Diaba exposed another layer of potential fraud. The court found it necessary to order the separation of funeral funds from the Daddy Lumba Memorial Foundation LBG account. This indicates that donation from the public given in memory of the icon were potentially being mixed with private funeral or other finances, creating opaque sludge found controlled by those seeking to exclude the lawful family. This is a gross abuse of charitable sentiment and public trust. Obstructions of investigative justice. True justice seeks all facts. The environment created for the lawful family was one of deliberate obstructions, preventing any challenging to the emerging narrative. The body and the autopsy, the lawful wife and children were denied access to Daddy Lumba's body for months. Their request for an independent autopsy, a standard right to ascertain cause of death, especially given the unclear circumstances, was blocked. Without an autopsy, questions about the sudden death remain unanswered, and a fundamental tool for investigative justice was nullified. The false narrative of abandonment. The court, by focusing on physical separation, allow a defamatory and false narrative to stand that Mrs. Fosu abandoned her husband. This narrative, crucial to the defendant's case, was disproven by evidence of her financial support, medication purchases, and visits. Yet, by not condemning this falsehood explicitly, the judgment lends it a shadow of legitimacy, further defrauding Mrs. Fosu of her moral and reputational rights. Justice was not merely denied, it was weaponized to retrace the judgment of Justice Dr. Dorinda Smith-Atta. Legitimized document fraud by ignoring incontrovertible proof of perjury. Sanction indicates sanction inheritance, theft by proving a judicial stamp to the misappropriation of jointly built marital assets, violated evidential fairness by erecting barriers for one side while laying out a welcome mat for the other, enable financial by failing to condemn the alarming coming of public moral funds. This case is no longer just about the Fosu family. I repeat it. This case is no longer just about the Fosu family. It is a precedent. It demonstrates how a corrupt interpretation of procedure, coupled with a refusal to pursue obvious truth, can transform a law of instrument for ratifying fraud. The legality has been twisted to deny justice, and the inheritance has been stolen under the court's solemn seal. This is the ultimate denial. Abusiafo, encheni ediesi, a solemn appeal to conscience and authority. Good. We have laid bare the facts. Okay, we have come. We have laid bare the facts. We have exposed the inconsistency, the procedural injustice, and the devastating consequence of a flawed judgment. Now, he turned from recounting this wrong to demanding its remedy. We appeal not with anger. Therefore, I repeat it. We appeal not with anger, but with a determined call for the restoration of order, of truth, and the rule of law in Ghana. I'm repeating myself. Me say, we appeal not with anger, but with a determined call for the restoration of order and truth and the rule of law in Ghana. To the people of Ghana and the court of public opinion, you are the ultimate guidance of our nation's souls. We appeal to your innate sense of fairness. Look at the evidence presented. A wife of over 30 years, a co-builder of a legacy, has been stripped of her status by a court that rejected a document on technicalities it made no effort to resolve. Look at the claimant who declares herself single to foreign government while claiming to be a wife in our court. This is not a complex legal mystery. It is a clear moral and factual wrong. Okay? This is not a complex legal mystery. It is a clear moral and factual wrong. We ask you to stand with truth, amplifying this story, demanding accountability. Let no one say that Ghanaians stood silent while such an injustice was perpetrated in their name. Abusiafo.
Love on Cheeto, hot pepper sauce. Serve your every meal.
Document without exhaustive forensic verification, while accepting contradictory oral claims, conducts it sets a dangerous precedent. We appeal for a scrutiny of this specific judgment and the conduct that led to it. The judiciary must be a fortress of impartiality, not a stage for evidence. Uphold the integrity of your noble institution by ensuring this matter is revisiting with the rigor, fairness, and pursuit of truth that every citizen deserves. To His Excellency the President, the Attorney General, and the Ghana Police Service, we appeal for executive and investigative actions. This case has spiraled beyond a civil dispute into matters demanding criminal investigation. Investigate the circumstance of death, the family's right to an autopsy and transparent inquest into the death of Charles Kojo Fosu has been obstructed. We appeal for state intervention to ensure this occurs. Please, Mr. President, we appeal for state intervention to ensure this occurs. Investigate potential fraud and perjury, the glaring contradiction between Priscilla Ofori's sworn single status on official document and marriage claim in court demands a criminal investigation for potential perjury and fraud on immigration and corporate documents. Investigate the misappropriation of assets and funds, the alleged gifting of the Fosu marital properties to the family of Priscilla Ofori, and the coming of public funeral donations, as noted by the High Court. Okay, as noted by the High Court, must be investigated as potential thefts and financial malfeasance. Investigate the conduct of the unauthorized lawyer. The Ghana Bar Association must urgently investigate the lawyer who has allegedly assumed control to estate assets without legal authority from the lawful family. Please, Ebusiafo, I'm repeating this for the Ghana Bar Association, must urgently investigate the lawyer who has allegedly assumed control of estate assets without legal authority from the lawful family. To the chiefs and traditional rulers of Ghana, her properties seized and her rights voided. What security do your investment and legacy back home have? Your remittance contributing billions annually to Ghana's stability are sent with trust. That the trust is broken when the system fails to protect your own. We appeal for your powerful voice. Lend your influence, your networks, and your demand for accountability to this cause. This thing is about the diaspora. Okay? You need to lend your influence, your networks, and your demand for accountability to this cause. Your engagement is crucial. To international observers and human rights bodies, we appeal for your witness. This is a case study in the deprivation of a woman's right to properly inheritance and fair judicial process. Watch this space. Hold Ghana accountable to its own laws and its international commitment to justice and gender equality. Whilst I'm ending my statement, I'm going to the international observers and human rights bodies. We appeal for your witness. This is the case study in the deprivation of a woman's rights to properties, inheritance, and fair judicial process. Watch this space. Hold Ghana accountable to its own laws and its international commitment to justice and gender equality. To end my press statement, our profound appreciation. In this difficult journey, we have not been alone. We concluded not with a note of despair, but with deep and sincere gratitude. We thank the moral and courageous members of the media, here present and abroad. Your dedication to uncovering and reporting the truth is the oxygen of democracy. You have given voice to the voiceless, and for that, we are entirely grateful. We thank the many legal professionals, academics, and civil society advocates who have reviewed this case, offered their counsel, and spoken out privately and publicly against the injustice they see. Your expertise and solidarity fortify our resolve. We thank the maternal family of the late Mr. Kojo Charles Fosu, especially his sister, Miss Ernestina Fosu, Mame Akosua Serwaa&Lumba, for their courage, instant for truth within fractions family contest, even obtaining a crucial injunction to halt and exclusion, to halt a funeral. I think that one, we have a family member here who acknowledge or tell us something about that. We extend gratitude to the members of the public, both in Ghana and across the globe, who have listened, analyzed, and expressed their support. Your messages, you share outrage, and your prayers have been shelled against diaspora. Finally, we thank Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba and children for their unwavering strength and dignity in the face of a torrent of deception and institutional failure. Your fight is our fight. Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba, your fight is our fight. This press conference is not an end. I mean, this press conference that we are doing is not an end. It is a clarion call marking the beginning of a sustained campaign for rectification. We will use very lawful and peaceful means available. We will not rest until the marriage certificate is recognized. The stolen properties are recovered. The body is respectfully laid to rest by his rightful family, and those who have perpetrated this fraud are held to account. The truth crash to earth shall rise again. We stand with truth. Team Legal Wife, we move. Team Legal Wives, we move. Team Legal Wives and Husbands, we move. Thank you very much. Abusafo, ya kan brofo na say ya mo say yeti mo ba sire yan ya brofo nya ya kasa na ya men charge I me pancho maybe if Oma mususuma pressure no any too much. Why we na umre no enso no odi okwa na adu achi eja nyame ya adoma obeti yenka na mama ya ade na mana ye mi bejai ama yewo proposal for the chiefs, which is our traditional council. Ye best say major ama my sister na wakan wi a mesrem na de yakan ni nyina ne bebo no tofa e wo chi kasem ama ye nyina yate enho ase na enche no ne yadi jumedie no ayeden abaye Mbacho say I don't know about the kind of brofo. Yeah, meba the boni nyina ya kind nyina tofa. Meba mo chow. I brofo dia mo mpe. So Kumasi International Airport wa anti Misramo. Ye wia ye babo ne tofa na ye dia mamo na bibia ewie peye because ye wo high court e wo Kumasi ye wo bi wa Accra ni nyina ye brofo ne ye de ye ka this is so
Subject humble request for blessing, demanding search for Daddy Lumba's body. Respected Otunfo Nana Osei Tutu II, we the team legal wives and husbands, together with all supporters and lovers of Daddy Lumba, humbly seek your royal blessing and permission to hold peaceful demonstration in Kumasi. Our urgent mission is to demand the authorities locate Daddy Lumba's deceased body within 5 to 10 days, so he may receive proper funeral rites as per our customs. Purpose and details. Cause to call for immediate action to find Daddy Lumba's body and ensure justice, cultural respect for him and his family. Demonstrations will take place in the Kumasi metropolis with a formal petition to be submitted to relevant authorities. Nature. Peaceful march with respectful chants, symbolic placards, and adherence to our cultural values of decorum. We assure you our actions will reflect the dignity and expected to those who honor traditional leaders. We would be deeply honored if a representative from the palace could be present as we present our plea for urgent action. May the ancestors guide you and grant us success.
Every modern Ghanaian kitchen deserves appliances that make life easier. And Media Gas Cooker does just that. I love how sleek and durable it is and how it instantly elevates your kitchen. The glass oven door, it keeps heat locked in, so your cakes, pie, and bread bakes evenly.
Press conference.
Sabri ye baba be bone tofa awo ye santi kasem eni ye twi kasem mo amowo isrim mo amowo voter mo amowo sefi mo amowo ye kasa no ebia na santi kasa no monte ni ye I think say moko mokas ayi mo fidie no so a mo translate a ebetimi amamo ayede ati ase yeah menko good emsa tofa me ba be bono efa eye brother ya die nyina yewra Mr. Charles Kojofosu dodo na friend of Daddy Lumba ne won sensem ya na ya ba metna ha yehu abugo na die dikan ya chia Ghana mampenini yewra John Dramani Mahama ana Attorney General na yachia yana opimso na nana osetutu otosu mienu nana we de memodi wi me mami muso a otoso mienu ya nananom o matwa asantima hu ahia yenuanom ene media mahyiamu ene ha ene de ya kasa dina ne se ya de nyina yewra Charles Kojo Fosu Daddy Lumba a dodo na freno Daddy Lumba no share na brabo ase no okopie mu wo amanone eye Germany abontie so ye di kan odika ko Holland na moamani tua ye abrochire nkrata sem ni abrochire komudi enti BBC ema yenia bema no esa ba ni chi na nyame nchade ne ho kani a oye ne ho ade ewo ema na busia ewo asante eye bom so hanom a esi 1991 no wa betim ni twi na de ko afe apem ahankro edi okro baako mo one ne wukani kabo mu no ewo akan ana yen amamre mu no omutu kwan oba no ebefa niwra ede ne koi ti se de midi kaka se yewra ko Holland no bibi nti osaba na chi na enumu na nyame ncha de ni yenia ba eye Akosua Serwaa Fosu nyame ya na doma won de abrochire nkomo unyane nkrata nti otimi de befa ne ho kani eye Charles Kojo Fosu ede koka ne ho ewo Germany ewa no mo bo mo bra ana omode wo omoba a odikan omoba na odikan no ye friend Calvin na ehwa nsusu na nu odi ni duma oye ne nyom busumi nsia na waba eye Ghana nsusu busumi nsia na waba ba be promoti ana se waba ba be promoti ne nyom a wadi hu duma no enumu ano ne hu kani maame Akosua Serwaa eye afibia omukọ no maba onene ma ewomua na yebra Charles Kojo Fosu eba bedru eye Ghana no na ewose oye ohwe na pomuden no ema otu anamo onene wukani ni kan se opese opa Ghana no obeye 1 or 2 bi no sa sign na chi yeden eko nanso ya brother ni bedru ye no eho no ma ne wukani enyanti ye se wono de wonje eho adokotafo no eni enti nko obepese obetena ni krom na omahwe na pomuden na yeden amano oba wodoni kunu ose mira ya waka no masumu amatenejo na yenya bema Charles Kojo Fosu ebedu Ghana wose ohwe na pomuden no sebi ono an nsem ka ne ye kakra bi a oye enti wantimi ankoka ne ho kani hu ewo amanone nanso no omudi nkomo no omoye ntotoye bibi asafata se okunu no oyiriye bia no omoye den omoye edidimu na yemia Charles Kojo Fosu ekoba ise afedi ewo nachi obekokra wokwa enche no asasa nachi na enum nso ana oba betena oman Ghana mu no na emfie mienu bia efri 2011 eba bia no ne yiri a ye ne wukani maame Akosua Serwaa Fosu emfie mienu bia do oba ebehwe niwra ewo oman from 2011 eba besi na oba bia nso a na oba beto yenya ba eya Priscilla Ofori a dodo na freno odoguni na oba beto na na nya se eye ne kra ana oba beto na eye se ni wura ma na so ate se oba yi na suso ni mu nkakra ye dai e wo fie eno wo de kobrofo na omo kan made na me kan wo asante kasem nti wonna suso ni mu nkakra na mso suso ni mu nkakra na omo de awo nso aye dai aka ho na yema yi mu de unu obi tena busumi nsia ekọ afekura eya na dodo na ono oba nkra to o se meyere nanso amamra ni amane ekwan so na enye aware didimu ana yemia ba no ede wo emumiensa si ehwa yamame Akosua Serwaa nyanti yese Mira chasojofo sumati se abaya na oni ni wo fie ona minim se osuso wumu kakran no one na wo baako mienu miensa ema yaya bra chasojofo su se me dofo pa ma die nyina se wa wo ye odo bibisa ne den eni ho ema wa ni twia omaya yatim wa semo ba wagia ne de yenye den yenni na wasamba de a yebeka obi sheda twamfoni de tira yenua ba ma no ema yenua ba Akosua Serwaa enua panyin ana ni nua panyin no adi mfoni ni ma yenua Akosua Serwaa ode ma na entampamu na no sa de ma niwura se mira asama na nukusu amaka no wensuso eyeden sabita frache yenina yati yehu bi yen asa time ni de yehu bie yehu se yenia taswadofo su na okoye dwumadie bi wo amanone eyelande enunti wa hweso anko ode ko ne yire wo be ma asem kesie se yesie ewo se woko na okojojo ne ho kani no akoma to okoi woni ne kokasai na sani ebaya oman no atesem bididi yesa yen nyina ye ni afia through 2014 every 2015 urban na ewomu ayese yen nya taskodjofosu opema enti no kranti wode bebo ma se onde e wo sori a o tene dem enso yeso wonu na ma waya de oye ma asem yen nyina ye awe enuti yenya taskodjofo suba o my Ghana mu no obai oni yenya ba ma aye media fo ya bi antidosti ebedi enkitahu ema yenyina yete se okase at that time no ne ma wawo because na kasa na ekọ abontene ne doso na yenyina yenim se ye bra taskodjofo su nyane nsem nyina no kano abontene etisi opiena so obekasa pe na jese ase bronya ayede esi anuti obabontene beyi ano at that time 2014 to 2014 to 2015 obabeyi nano se ono taskodjofo su ne ma eye enum okay obabeyi ano se ne ma eye enum at that time no na ababa wa ye friend Priscilla Ofori na wo fie wa wo baako wa wo mienu wa wo miensa nanso abra na ye nua taskodjofo su kana asem ewo ye nua antidosti ho no wan kase wa wo enwoche because na ye bra taskodjofo su ni ye maame Akosua Serwaa awo miensa ana wawo baako ewo nchen eye ono anadamfo ana yenya Akosua Serwaa damfo ano ne tie maame Georgina ba ana Denise ensoso eye bebi ane yewra taskodjofo su eti ewo Achimota obabi a ohia no ho ebo short baako. It's at that time na emana ye enum na sankia de yenya ba Priscilla Ofori emano ka saa enum ne ho a na nka be ye nwotwe nanso yenya ne tena afidi kase so ene Antidosti kan se ne ma eye enum but because say yenya Antidosti nim se atesem ne emma ebi wo akire ne nti o cheda sa pusu no ka chere se na bra wo wi ana no se o obehwa ahye so the num besa kan enum na wo ye den owo ne ho a ema wo nyina ye den ebo esre enti enum ani ye dididia nyame ncha de atense yenia taskojofosu ne ho bedodo ne kakra na anche ne ho dodo no akwa babontere beka se onyare nu efie mienu o se less than 2 years an oyare enti yeso ya de ba sante kase mu anacha se bia afi ba ko ne busumi nsia busumi ba ko busumi miensa busumi nson enye mfie mienu enti sabre ni mu no ne ho to no anche no ni enia ya de nyina eye great ampon enso ye enyom o shise which is 2016 o mo de be ye Ozana o mo de didi mu a de be ye MPP fo nyom ni nyina na yenya taskojofosu na ne ho odi ye wotimi ko ba bia odi ni dwuma se de wo se odi pepepe na ne ho ndodo no se oda wonom a sabi o waye ohaw ana tete ama abusia ana waye ohaw ana tete ama oman no ana waye ohaw ana tete ama obi na otimi ko eba eye de wo se oye bia enum a na yenya taskojofosu edidi mu a edibesi 25 Mijini yese 23rd June eye bra one ne hukani Mrs. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba ekasa ya etwato na omudi nkomo by 23rd June 2025 ene eda etwato a ye maame Akosua Serwaa ene niwura taskojofosu ekasa ye abra na ne ba otosu mienu edi na woda no wa wani tia meme de enra na ya meka akire ana abusia ebehia ye eye yewura Kofi Owusu ema yedi na wochida na after na wochida no ana koba ise eye ni dan se ye maami Akosua Serwaa edi ba enkrata so kra na tese wadi afofi na tese wadi ben se obeba so se oye oyere na sabita frache awariemu yewo mu miensa ewo oman mu yewo yamamre aware which is traditional marriage dodo na friend customary marriage and yewo ordinance enkrata ensoso de and yewo Muslim fo nso edie ewo ha na aware ni mu no de yenim ewo omra ni mu se wo ware amamra de no na se wamfa ordinance na nkanwa wa ware no ehye ma ne se otimi ware bebre otimi ware bi kan na bra wo be ware in ordinance no etwa se wo ware ba kopɛ untimi mfa obi nyade enkan ho ye bra Charles Kojofosu ene ye maame Akosua Serwaa abra mu kopie mu o court no ye nyante ye se 2004 ana ye bra Charles Kojofosu ni ye maame Akosua Serwaa eware wo eye nkrata mu a ye friend ordinance marriage ewo Amanone Germany omo ware ye no na etwa se ye bra Charles Kojofosu wa ye bra ontimi mfa oba bia nyeden enka ne ho enunti one ne yire Akosua Serwaa ene ehwibom etu ebo mo brabo ehunu sane nyankopon de omo beden ebesie ba ye kopie mo court no ye nyanti ese eye ababa wa Priscilla Ofori ye ma meka ne wasem mre bi atwam se one ni wura ehyewo ewo no ono ba se ono so ye oyire na court ma ye hunu se court nsem kan ya ye ko ye nyina no ye ma me Akosua Serwaa ede ne nkrata ekire se oye oyire ede bra ebe kire court esan se court ebenya bre na wo ma hwehwem ahunu se nkrata na ye ma me Akosua Serwaa de ba ye no eye papa ana enya papa no court enya mre anhwehwem ye court ye ya ne se nkrata ye ma me ne de ba ye no enya nkrata papa na sabita frache yen nkrata ye bayira ni kontomra ye de nwo ekra so nchen yen ye kro ye ditum se edimu ye tukwa ade ko ba bia ehofo no ehye se ombehwem ahunu se sankrata ne edimu ana enimu etu omu wa namontuo bia omutu a omde behwehwem se Ghana yen krata ya ware nkrata no omuba behwehwem ma ye hunu se edimu ba eba ne sen ana German dia ye de ba Ghana no Ghana ye court epeso kire se enimu abranso a German fo so edi aba se omu nkrata na edimu etini enim se court bema bre ama impo German fo aso ye wo oman Ghana mu ombeyi obi ama na ba behwe ama na hu se eye papa ni bi ana se eye boni ni bi bibi sensi wo court ebiam adansidi akoso wo court dan mu ho efri yewra o panyini Kofi Owusu enkrata wo de ba se ye nia ba ma Kojofosu eware ye nia ba Priscilla Ofori no ni nyina na ye urasem because ye ma expert share no na just say ye can say photo shoot ana omo de ba court na no ana AI ni nyina mu no court say enumom ana ese efata empo wona ye nyina ye wo man we ma ye nim se si ye wade a empo private one eye dan ya obenya abusuani ba ku mienu miensa bi eye dan ewo ho enso ye nya Charles Kojofosu ni ye nya ba Priscilla Ofori aware omu ko ye bia wu omu nyina wu ana wo so omu wu ye ni nyina ebie ode owu di otwato eye 1989 ana di otwato ewu ye nanso ye nya ba Priscilla Ofori osi aware no 2010 2010 no me say sisu biemu a eye ye nya ba ma Charles Kojofosu eni ye nya ba Priscilla Ofori aware no ewo court dan mu ono osi aware no 2010 na minim say ye man ya yetimu obia ko ye aware a anya hwe se o ma na busua ni nyina akora nko ma busua ba ku mienu miensa bi ya dan ekoja no we so de ye nya Charles Kojofosu ni Priscilla de ne de wo mu a omu free Charles Kojofosu abusua ni mu nyina ewu ewo court dan mu ho sem kanya ba won se omu nyina ewu omu so omu nyina ewu no de otwato a wo wu ye etwato kra wu 1998 meanwhile so ye nya ba ne se ye ware no eye 2010 saafo ni nyina eba ware ni bi nipa kra wodi orisa gu ye busua panyina asum no ono wo wu 1980 8 Satan kwa ni enua Charles Kwadwo Fosu enye na adwene se ode nwomo eba abontere ama obi ayeden atibi sansam we nyina court se eno eyeden edimu ebiam abrantia oba court a wo se ono de oba aware ni bi na ono oware yenia Priscilla Ofori enia ba panyin ono na oba bedi adanse agitumu wo court dem wo se ampa yenia Charles Kwadwo Fosu ka kire ni se owo yire a wo Germany nanso ntawantawa kakra bi na yede ewo ho eno nkyere se obetimi agya saa na yire abeware eye na yire ketwa no nanso ni nyina chi no omubu nyiegu omasum ema aware ne koi according to eye obarima obedi adanse ema yenyaba Priscilla Ofori a dodo freno odo broni na we nyina course no court wono ma yagitu mu se eye nkrata ye ma mede ba ye a edi mu se oye oba awarefo no court se enye nkrata papa ntino yenya Priscilla Ofori eni ye ma me Akosua Serwaa enyina eye ye enti san komo ya me born tofa wo court demu eni nkomo a mi di etwato efa judge ni judgment o de baye no entini yasum yeti asia enyeye esanse oman no ewo mra yedibu yeman enya saa ensensem wei enebema yemra no ayeden asesa eti yesre omanpanyini yesre attorney general yesre mu amokabia ewom yana nanom mpanimfo Ghana man mu amokabia eyeye se asama yedidi yenua maame Akosua Serwaa Fosu no yadwiri hu a enyeye yeti ase a enyeye se yakase emra no enyese ya bijidi yese oyene enebeba omanim etisamu behwa esanse saa atanchia no eba ye no ama yemma ya ni bi ana emma na sabi be man konhu wo mo enkonhu abusua no a o mo sai aware no sese o mati atesi ba bia o mbefa bia o ma yese somno ana o mo yeden o mo tale enkofuo ekunu no eti asra sanso ne ye brother Kwadwo Fosu efri mu no onyia ni mpon ni nyia wodi nachi enya ni maami nyia bawo enya ni papa nyia bawo eye ni nyia woni ni free yafrukrom eye dan ebaye ya maami Akosua Brempoma aye friend Ernestina Fosu obaye oso opeso ohunu ade a eku ni nyia no sabi woni ni nyia ne kasa ye enda toso miensa ana ni nyia no otin se waye de wa film ana opese opeso ohunu ade a eku ni nyia no sabi obaye wa meye dede wo kejetia wa ma medina Kumasi adum sepane wo se opeso ohunu ade a eku ni nyia no omani ye wo mra wo etuotu anamo se obefa mra kwan so no de ehunu ade a eku ni nyia no ampa yeko Accra High Court Emma otemuania oteso eye Justice Emmanuel Kofi Diaba ene trans asem no so apa ma me na sem odi kotu dwa eto anasum ohun se oman ye de emra na echechire oman no eto ofamra kwan so eka se de dikan ya papa Kofi Owusu oncha se mba onko ye yi a no peso ye no 13th December no ye to su biem o mane na ochimi ensa so ni abusua ni nsia na omo enya tutuye ene mani nyina na omo nya ye nua eye Charles Kwadwo Fosu enho ayie na mfa sumdwe nya den emra ebiem oye se funeral home ma omo emma kwan fa eye amu no emma abusua panyin kwaye ayie onte se asundua yɛ den ato kasa nyamu no ni dɔnhwere mienu deɛ yɛte ya ne sɛ ɔman no tɛmuani no asa abɛtena ase sɛ ansa na abusuafoɔ no ebenya akwanya akɔyɛ hwehwɛmu a yɛde ku yɛ nua Charles Kwadwo Fosu no gye sɛ ɔmo de sika a ɛyɛ pepepepepepepepe 20,000
2 million.
2 million Ghana cedis. 20 billion. Sa sikano. Mi jidi yese ya ton Ghana bisi ya kwaje kura na ya na ebi nu. Yenya fammo oman no ho brenti ya kɔ ho bisi abo. Ewa amanone. Na yeda na okata timamuni ba ko se onu nkofa sa sika ne mra se de kaga na ye beja besi abo na ke ye de toto ye ya so ni ye ya ye rezi sika ni ye de abu ye man anu nti ye ma me ni ye nua Charles Kwadwo Fosu abusua na anya sa sika ni nti no ma ekwan se wo se abusua na ye de ekoye omayi amanya ampa yenyina yetu yekoso sololoku funra ekoso wo Kumasi Sports Stadium eniamo wonsam funra ye ewo Kumasi Sports Stadium na emo yenyina Charles Kwadwo Fosu eni na busu apani Kofi Omusu de record o ma set wo program empo etemwo for kra ni
Love on Shido. Hot pepper sauce. Serve your every meal.
Seju na ye bo udin a ye wuka sorry o go di ma Kwadwo sorry na we de ye srewa dawo o ma ye de ensabu ye nsayem ya ta nyina se na fancy for ma afye eba Mesha, Anati Amen, that was so in Nana Miss Nanamunina, Sir, Munkabi my near Muru, Yen Charles Kwadwo Fosu. Near I said a fata and farmer. Naka I'm say Yamaya so. Yamiano man, more amanone. Munina Monichia. Mamma share free baby. Munina Mushabi. Acquire your dear mammy, Akosua Serwaa and yes, Akosua Serwaa for some. Is a man so certificate. Chamuru say wives. Opinion is Onye kese media no so yedamase obi bia oba ai yamame eye eboa busia na afia kobi nso nyame sure na before amanu besi no yamame ene nana ede o manu di se kakra bi betugwa no madamase maame de madamase
Why not go for me?
The sound of the hard drink. Yes, the sound of the hard drink. This okay, mammy, if you could be so the casa. Okay, Matia, that's just like that. I think life program to China. They are my age, and I see it here, right? So, if you have a casa, you so
sister. Hey, eti abusafo dati lumba mame afia so apeso kasa na afia kobi apeso kasa
Omama abunana ma esi to abro tena tu mama
what is all about
somebody says mama adoma bro
it's all mama I'm not going to the young
adoma bro tena say my wife mama ni kasa kakra ma abro boys Papa J.
Controversial Papa J. Oh, any of
Yes, okay, I'm the better. I'm a son.
Medical system are never could say, oh, sham, or papa when you actually able to. The woman said I was your penny, Eddie Abro, and was a cassia my pa. Letty, I mean, who be done, I'm intending penny some that say, would be a woman, you fool that one. Yeah, brepa, what that I could do now. The best Ramo said, Obia couldn't go to the animal or Mompire, my Apodabusu. As some die so far. If you obia to me, can your pair at the tray, Obia Casse, Obia Casse. Then so Akosua Brimpoma. Any Yakuma, Yasso, Papabi. Yan Yad say, Yet dear Pacosu 40. We tenant yet tie no granite. Asama abam enya asam kitu ebi wa ni je ebi so wa yaw na ye de ne krankran na kasa eti ye mini mi ho adade kra enam se odo ana pepe yenti ana megaya maba betena mumpo asabi o misra me kaso munya agusua mpo hwe odo amayi ade a kire said the modi odo abodo yesu akitu awese yesu de odo ebe bomudo na kwa bia ye behu odo fun bia medical sre mia me ba otumfo ma me na ekase semi bo udin a me sori nana oba na na afia pa akosu ni ohima wa de nyina o ma me na ekase na me metu emi na na wo hwe mani pra otum se bisu the way young partner, no other room. A man saying, you know, there be a penny. Minu Bema. My dear, Papa, what yes, row. The young police ropa, Nana, they count what it. When you saw some make a winning meaning, best them with green. Can you be or can be on be just a mean who said you're missing Campo? Ubadano General so, Ubadano Duriha, Ubadano Duriha, as some add Jim Maya. Yes, Ramo, a fool. But do on your pata. On your fool. Then so she said, Minty, lead me who read that. They are timid, they are cutting him. It's what you're not yes, and I'm Mr. Ramo. It's in any more every time. And I beg be a some way there be a no correct. Woman who cray nerdy. Woman who cray nerdy. They are frog or dog. Odobro ni die wedie odobro ni die we praye odobro ni so o mai die decide we e fa na see odobro ni oda no waka so ntimi nda me de masem nyina me ka che on se so many people ni die you ready e kwaya ofa so ko dwenti mi ewu a ye hunu de ye ka ukogina ba bia enam sikanti na mabubu abu so nanano e ko na abusua e ko sa samampa o de a unchire mutum asire mu bebre se mumwayo muda na mopompa ya munkai ni muoya Brimpoma entimin na me piesi. Wada wontimin no. Wontimin na. Na so na sam no hwan. Hwan na beka bia ma no. E be sire mu bebre. The best sram say, Moo ya mobo. A dear higher no. Then so, a yet no crabbe dead. A yet no crabbe back. Bibia no a wotimi kataso na so etimi pie no obi nyina ho. Mami. Ana future. Wa de nyina akodu. Sanka woti asea. Asase ni ensi da. Nti oba ta samampe. Esire wani die. Asem ya bei, ade samon samanfo na mobabo na ye de anu nudu. Nana yesire mo mo aye wate. Na de no kure da bia. Abontin so for na ekoma yo obi a wonim ni baabi na mo donti hwede ye ma me Akosua Serwaa na so nam se ni ni se wo baga na kra no ontimi mma na so hwe nsenche ni esiye na so de akoma pa we no odo we ya taa oba achi ene mo na na achi a ama ni mo nyam wo aba ekuo na abusua mu a na side na sire wo be se Muhu ya mobo na baby anu kure de bia kokoto baby anu kure de biara ya mpanyifo nanano yes ye ka akire asante yini ma de nyina mesere hu ya mobo wate na ka bi mai sesi etu ye ni baby akodo ne sampo anase na basampo edda obi busa wa we kasa de wo a wo to wunya nipa na o kasa abusua na de na moto na efunati asi na esu nyina ya ade ba obi biara otasa asem hu bia de onyankopon na ade nyina ewo no hu say ye bebre de na esu no kre ebede inishi ya meka chi obi biara de asida eni ka bia de de obi biara se kwani akoten na mode mbo a mo boye hu ni nyina wonyere mo onyankopon beto supa Amen. Amen.
I brought our Casaria, you bet to as a dinosaur. Why?
10 years ago, it all began with one trade. Discipline became my edge. And today,
in the first place, team legal wives and the husbands, they are said about Australia for Yapopo. Now, the bedam pay for in answers. Now, Yada media no swas, and one of modern 70 call. She was guessing I mean, now, Kakra, the president came in and said, and idea you move here, you bet me acting now. Now, I say, Ghana Brano, then Nanano. Because a video be a Nama Mia Grada Casa. Says, we ain't hear me. Now, buy the Bonia, Ponaco Pacho. If you say, always car, always a means, will bet me the Pia want. You shut cream wet here. Me then be a mechanic, and I'll keep saying it. And yet, you can't throw. My wedding be paying. Wedding a walk room. We are legally, you have no rights over chimpanzee. Not to talk of somebody who are wedding. Now you say, no kunu akwa chimpanzee, yankas and impranso, legally in Ghana. I'm a Kobia because chimpanzee, and I'm a wali guye. A baba could appear more, a bit of mass seven, appear. The CNG to say, Yabanumuye, team legal wives and husbands. Ghana brother him say, you record to him. Now I'm far. It will go court with me. I'm far. You better call to the Supreme Court because we want to test the law. Me too, Mama. What should be also one man? Say I'm shambling ye. Near Sambran, you wouldn't your pa. You cheaper say that. I didn't know. Nay, here. Now, I'm so because Akosua Serwaa&Lumba obey. Akosua Serwaa&Lumba obey. I just want bomb. No one demand here. I don't protect us answer. Go and read Ghana law. Kwara camera here. Me say, mon pen lawyer be over camera in their chim. Say you will be a young we have lawyers. We have classmates or we are lawyers. And personally, you can say lawyers will come and see. Mr. Ramon, a year say a po, yampo, abrotiasio, abrowo, that do me, you know, the wife, I won't answer, Tirasi, no, she be. And the American women are Montias and say, that Lumba here, Mumukoye, more than to the solo quay. I feel ye baby ye kasa. Obisi na body no ye. No offer. The late Paul Ekwekofi. O London. Yamfa ye ni ehun body da. She tire appreciate ye. Obi okoli bi owo nsuom. Aye ehun body ya ne ye. Ye will be a car accident, car share. I'm about this year. Ye timi ane da no ya ne ye. Said you obi wu ya ye hu no. Aya ne ye no. Sa na da dulu so wu ye hu no. It's your own question. Ye why was shaman? Why was whom that Lumba? See at the down, Minimito, Chavitifuso. Why was whom that Lumba? Why was some media from Vogue and said, why was whom see another Lumba? Nimino, Minimiti at 2 hours sentiment. We are on any, but I mean business. Yet now, I'm bumping for me, Sagan and Brano, Wabre and Brano. We are working now. Who know Christ our champion, and that is a fact. She best media they say, did it as an angel sign in the year. What would not tell you to Mokopambi? What would you call Korokopambi? The Bay Yenu, the Bay Yenu swear effect. The year we shall feel taking a kind words to say, and then one, don't know money, a bit more crying, a more broken. Whatever you find yourself as a team legal wife or husband, boss you. Sad and also now we are the gym part, me and two pound in every anything. Because we want to prove to the world that Lumba here and yes, had the phone here. We are ready to do funeral for that Lumba, no solo party for that Lumba. Thank you very much. God bless us all.
Observe more questions beyond babies and answer. Legal wives. Ashanti Queen, Akosua, Mame, Christodi, Ashanti Queen, guys. Josie.
Obibia Swasi, Yamame Samson, my witch, Queen Emma, about you have power. Kwaku Christo, Abna Papa Yet there will be beer, Ashanti Queen, Abna Papa Royal. Oh, Obio Jivoti, the woman legal wife, Shataba, Obia, Yada Obibia, Tragic, Titupa, Queen Emma official, Queen Eradi Onshra, Nashmi, a good year, the great, Her Majesty, Obia, Obua, Emma. Team legal wives and husband. Emma ye trim of any peppering your eye pese, Emperor Emma ye mami Akosua Serwaa&Lumba. Any the immediate family of Charles Godofo Serwaa&Lumba. Yada obi bia se Awurade hwa obi a akoto oten sabato jese edina doso yamu dia Captain Caesar Awurade onhwa Jomana James Long Obia Ashanti Queen Hesroya Ekuya Brempe Obia o involve in ho appeatu Obia Yada Obia Awurade onhwa obi bia yani so mumre musika mada mamu odene Father one Yada Obia's brako media Obia since day one a free course Monday you Obia Viscount media and so eka Obia mama odi anya blokaye na na papa bi enipa ne trust omu nyina e contribute omu boa we so na we ya so omu na chinchina mu e ma ya ma anya Akosua Serwaa na sama e ye mobo na ye abrebo enipa ama ene Obia standing by her it's already show Obia all the legal wives and husbands Obia oye involved you see Awurade onhwamo we do appreciate every single thing Wadaje musika dazi TV edina no modeba ebo ana yore for fashion nipa